All right, welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for this week's trading recap, February 22nd to the 26th. As you can see, we were down $799 this week, which is a little bit rough, but only 1.68% on the account, which compared to the rest of the market and a lot of the growth stocks that we saw this week, we very outperformed those. So this week, I'll be going over all my past trades. I only have one current position going into the weekend, but this gives me a good opportunity to show you the defensive side of my trading strategy. And as fun as it is to always show the big breakout stocks, the big gains, I think you'll probably get more out of this trading recap than some of those because defensive trading is not something that you learn too much about when the market's really hot. So knowing this, how to trade defensively, how to stop your losers relatively quickly, sell some into strength. So when the market pulls back, like it did this past week, you're not too far off your account balance high. So right now I'm only about 4% off my account high. If this is your first time tuning in and you enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, and TikTok. If you're coming just for a certain stock, the timestamp for that will be in the comment section. So, in the agenda, we'll go through just a quick market recap of the indexes, go over the Tik Tok Trading Challenge. That was a really rough week. Review both of the watch lists, and then take a look at the open position I have, and then the past trade breakdown. Quick disclaimer, anything that I talk about is not financial or stock advice. This is all for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence while trading. Trading comes with financial risk. All right, so quick market recap. We got the flush on Tuesday. Tuesday morning, everything pulled back really quickly, and buyers stepped in. It rallied back up, closed relatively near the high of the day, and then on Wednesday we had follow through. So Wednesday night during the live stream, things were looking good. We put together a watch list to see if we could get any breakout stocks going from there. And then unfortunately on Thursday we flushed, and today was kind of a mixed bag of everything. But S&P down 2.5%, NASDAQ down 5%, Dow Jones down 1.75% after making all-time highs. And then FFTY, that's the IBD top 50, that more correlates with the growth stocks that I trade, and that was down 6.6%. So only being down 1.7% on my account during this week, pretty good. So once we have this kind of flush of the growth stocks and this basically the market, I'm going to be giving the market a little bit of time to firm up, to have a couple breakouts go without me before I start really trying to ramp up my trades. A lot of people will buy the dip, buy at certain moving averages. That's not my system. I haven't had success with that, so I'm going to stick to what I do best, which is progressive exposure. As a couple test positions are making profits, then I can roll the risk up, move stops to entry, and then take new trades. I'm not one to just load up on a pullback because I have no idea how long we're going to be pulling back for. So typically, once we have a flush like we just got this week, the first couple breakouts might get sold off by institutes or by traders as they try and soften up their weekly, monthly, year-to-date P&Ls, because if you didn't have tight stops on your trades going into this week, you could have taken some pretty large losses. So a lot of people will try and soften up their P&L by selling off any breakouts that do work. All right, let's jump to a couple of the charts there. So let me mark it. So Dow Jones, you can see on Wednesday, we actually made all-time highs, and then Thursday opened up right at the high and pulled back from there, and today pulled back even further, just between the 50 and the 20-day moving average. Very high selling volume the past 2 days, so that is definitely cause for concern. S&P 500 next. This one kind of a mix between NASDAQ and Dow Jones. Here's your flush on Tuesday, bounce up, closed relatively near the high, but still under that 8-day exponential moving average. Good follow through on Wednesday. It looked like we were turning the market around. Things were getting going again, but I wasn't quite sure of that. So all the positions I put on after Tuesday were very, very small, and I got stopped out very small. So was not as confident in this kind of bounce back, and good things because we saw Thursday and Friday heavy selling volume. Now S&P 500 sitting right on the 50-day moving average. Let's get to the Qs. This one is the worst looking chart of them. High selling volume on Tuesday, Thursday. Today bounced back a little bit, but we're under the 50-day moving average on this one now. So that is a little ugly. And then FFTY, IBD top 50. This is that what excuse me, most correlates to the growth stocks that I trade. Lots of volume coming on Tuesday's flush, which bounced at the 50-day moving average. Wednesday we had some follow through, closed over the 20, but still under that 8. And then Thursday pulled back again, and Friday we bounced again at that 50-day. So there's moving in, buyers are stepping in at the 50-day, which gives me a little bit of hope that maybe the first half of the week I put on some tiny positions that we get to break out, and then I could start adding exposure again. But I mean, we're going to let the market decide how much I invest. So that's the market recap. Quick Tik Tok Trading challenge. You guys keep voting for the worst performing stocks. CLSK, that was the largest voted stock. 54% of the votes went to that, and that was down 26%. PACB, that was the third largest voting, down 26% as well. PLL was our top performer at 16.2%, and SLM was up 4.3%. So really bad week for the TikTok account, down 14.75%, now down 9.6% on the year compared to myself, who was down 1.7% and up 16.4% on the year. If you're new to the channel, if this account ends up beating my own on a weekly compounding basis at the end of 2021, I'll be giving away everything in the TikTok account away to people that comment on this video that I'll drop right here. So make sure you add your Twitter or TikTok handle to that video's comments for a chance to win. All right, so let's run over the watch lists. Every Sunday morning, put out a breakout watch list. I knew we weren't going to have too much success going into this week, but still wanted to go through the process of preparing a watch list, getting myself ready for any stocks that we're going to break out. Unfortunately, not a good time for that. Our average gain loss was minus 5.3%. We had 7 winners, 10 losers. You can see the top gainers here: ORGO 14.3%, PLL 13.1%. And I guess I gave you guys a couple bad stocks to pick from in the TikTok Trading Challenge because PACB was down 29% from Friday's close and CLSK was down 34%. So down 5.3 compared to the IBD top 50. I mean, we outperformed that, right in line with the Qs, but got beat by S&P and Dow Jones. On Wednesday, I do a live stream called Midweek Movers where we refresh that watch list and then go over any stocks that you guys want to see. From that, we had average gain loss of 0%. So they all averaged out to 0 if you put equal investing from Wednesday's close. Had 8 winners, 6 losers, and we outperformed everyone but the IBD top 50. All right, so current positions. Only have one position that I put on today. I went cash yesterday and then saw APPS breaking out up 12% when I put the trade on, but I put on only 2% position size. It did break out a little bit further. It was over maybe 6% from my entry point, so I moved half my stop to my entry. The rest of my stop is at 5%. So even this, if this pulls back down, I'm going to be out very quickly for a very small loss. Not trying to do too much. So actually, let me jump to that chart so I can explain current positions. All right, so this is what I was looking at. Got in, so I traded this twice this week. The first was on the 25th. This had broke out 107%, pulled back 22%, had that really nice flush on Tuesday, and then bounced at the 20-day moving average on Wednesday. I forget if I bought and then it pulled back and bounced there, or if it bounced, I put the trade on, it got stopped. But Either way, that was down 2.5% on that trade. Not terrible, but again, I wanted to be wrong small this week because not many things were working. And good thing I stopped out there because on Thursday we pulled back even more. But today, on Friday, ran 12%, went over the daily highs of a couple of these, the past 3 days highs. So that was my entry point at 81.28. And then now you see half my stops at my entry, half my stops at a 5% loss, and it's only a 2% size position. So I'm not really trying to make money with this trade. I'm more so trying to put on a little bit of exposure, see what type of setups are working, where the money is going. And if this becomes profitable and I can move my stop to my entry, then I could take a new trade with a 5% stop, keep the same amount of risk, but double my exposure in the market. So that's a way to kind of leverage up your exposure without taking any more risk. So that's the only current position. Now let's go through the trading recap of past trades. So we're just going to go in alphabetical order here. ACIC, I'm going to try and fly through this first for some of them. We'll break down more in detail. This is one that I put on last week. This gapped up, pulled back, and then recaptured the daily high, or the all-time high. That's when I put on the trade. Sold some into strength the next day. Took off half the trade at my entry and got stopped half at 5%. So this was plus 1.63%, $32, basically a break-even trade. But good thing I got stopped where I did because the next day it gapped down even further and we have some drift. ACIC. Next we have AG. This was a 5% gain for me. Really nice trade in a tough environment. Bought on the 22nd here, as you can see, a couple daily highs formed that pivot right through there. That's where I bought, came out on volume, sold some into strength that same day, booked the profit, and then stopped out a little bit as I moved my stop up, a partial stop up above my entry, got stopped there, and then on Thursday when I was just going to cash, I just sold at the market. So was able to book $75, 5% on the trade. And good thing I got out because today we were down 4.96%. It's AG. ALDX, was really hoping for more gain on this one. This was only 3% or $75. Had a move of 127% up, 26% pullback, and then had this really nice shakeout day while forming. You can see this blue line covers a couple daily highs for the pivot. That was my entry point on the 4th. Broke out, pulled back. I took a little bit off in profit there. And then when we made that turn, got out on heavy volume, took some off on, what day is that? The 16th, and then stopped a little bit above even on the rest. So 3%. And then the next day we flushed even further and bounced. So maybe this can tighten up and we can trade it again. But for now, happy with a 3% profit on that. That was ALDX. Next, we have one of my larger winners that we're going to talk about today, AMRS. This was a 24% gain overall, 620% move. We were up 400% on the breakout. I did not trade this breakout, but when we pulled back 26%, had a nice mini shakeout there. Bought on this heavy volume day as we were coming out over the high. Sold some into strength that day. A couple more scales as we're going up above this upper Bollinger Band that was already extended. Added back a piece as we pulled back to the 8-day exponential moving average on very light volume. And then when we got out on heavy volume. So that was a good add there. Sold some into strength the next day. I probably should have, I don't know. In hindsight, it's a lot easier. You see this long upper wick I could have sold at, but took some off basically right at the open because the market seemed a little shaky. And then got stopped out of the rest at break even with the addition price. So that's how I played that one. Now it's kind of pulling back with slightly heavier volume. So we'll see how this goes. I think it might have earnings coming up, but up 24% on the trade, pretty good, $620. And When you have a big winner like that, 24%, and all of your trades, all your losing trades are 3 and 5%, you could pay for a bunch of losing trades, and then you don't have to have a 50-50 win rate to be profitable, and that's always what I'm going for. ATKR, this one was just a bad fill by me. I had this on the breakout watch list. It was looking good, and then I hit market buy instead of a limit buy, so I got a terrible fill on this, and I don't know, just a trade I would like to throw away and not take again. Had really good volume bars coming out, held up great during Tuesdays. That's Tuesday's candle, pulled back basically to the breakout point, and that held. So um, the only reason I took this off on Thursday was I was just taking everything off. So down 2.7% on the trade, $64 I lost. But ideally, I would have bought right away on Monday as we broke out over the all-time high there, and it did come out on volume. So just a bad fill caused that to be a loser. That was ATRK. Next we have BNGO. This one we covered last week. I had a really bad buy the first time, put the trade on again after it came out on heavy volume, and then sold some into strength, which made this a profitable trade overall. I mean, only $22, but not a losing trade, right? And that's good because as we came back, I got stopped around even, a little bit under, and then the next day we flushed even further. This pulled all the way down to $8. So from the $12 I got stopped at to $8, that would have been catastrophic if I didn't listen to my stop. So happy I did so, selling some into strength during a choppy market and moving my stop to even. It's BNGO. Next we have CDMO. This one was a 127% up, 11% back. So that's a high tight flag that I like to trade. This is one that I got in when we broke over this like lower pivot here with the daily high. And then the next day we opened lower, but then it continued to break out. It never hit my stop when it opened, continued to break out. And then it came back in, and the market was acting funky. That was on Monday. And I just decided to scratch the trade. This is one where if everything was going well in the market and I was making new account balance highs, I wouldn't have scratched it here. But just to take some risk off, down 2.2% on the trade, $44, not bad. And then this is one in a normal time. I put a note here for myself. After I sold, it checked back to the 20-day, undercut some daily lows, and then the next day, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and then made a nice 3-day pivot with the all-time high right here. That on Friday, this could have been one that you put on as just like one of your test buys, like I did with apps. But with the market acting the way it is, it's always better to be cautious. I'm kind of using this one as, okay, this is a quality setup, quality breakout, got out on volume. Let's see if they sell this off on Monday. And if they don't, then I get a little bit more confident that the market's turning around and I can put some more exposure on. CDMO. Next we have CELH. This is one super quick trade for me. 200% up, 25% back. So basically a high tight flag. Pulled back here, and then on the 22nd, we broke over the previous day's high. That's when I bought in, sold some almost immediately, just 2% up, moved my stop to even, and just got stopped out at even. So, I mean, 0.5% gain, $11, whatever. But again, this is avoiding the downside risk. The market looked shaky. I was very nimble moving my stops, and I avoided, I don't even know what that would have been, 50, almost a 20% pullback there. So trading defensively, it's not glamorous. You don't see many people bragging about it, but it's so important, especially because we've been trained in this environment where you just buy the dip, everything's ripping since last March, basically. When we do see these pullbacks, if you don't have rules, if you don't have defensive trading strategies, you probably took much more than a 1.7% hit to your account this week. So that's why we're covering it here. CMRX, Down 2% on this trade. See, 2%, 2%, 2%. I'll take these 2% losses because 124% gain like we had with AMRS, that'll pay for all the risk there. And this one, 135% up, 22% down. Nice pivot through here. Got in at 969, sold some into strength, stopped even on some, and then gave this even more time, and just got some slippage on Tuesday's pullback. Otherwise, my stop was at even, just didn't get filled there. So not a bad trade overall, down 2%. And this is one that, I mean, it kind of flushed a little bit on Friday. Maybe this will be one for Wednesday's live stream, but holding up relatively well during a tough environment. So one to definitely keep your eye on, CMRX. Next, we have EGHT. Here we go, 3.8% loss, $75, not bad. 124% up, 13% back, high tight flag. Let me pull down here. Average true range, this measures the daily bars. So as everything gets nice and tight through here, you'll see the ATR drop. And that's what you like to see going into a breakout because there's less disagreement on the price. When a big buyer steps in, then that usually accelerates the price higher. That's what it looked like it did on the day that I got in. Got in on the 19th, moved up, and then just the next day, it just flushed. Listened to my stop at 3.8% and avoided continuation down under the 50-day. So good thing I got out there. Next, we have HL. This one, another just 1.5% loss, $21. Not going to worry about it too much. Had a nice move up here and then inside candle bouncing at the 8-day exponential moving average. So when we broke over the previous or 2 previous days high, that was supposed to be my buy point. Didn't get that perfect fill as it rushed over that point and then got stopped slightly under even, 1.5%. Took the trade off when I was just taking everything off on Thursday. So down $21, 1.5%. Small loss. I could take that any day. KLR, this was a slightly larger loss for me. I traded this twice this week. The first one was 6% loss. The next one was 3% gain. Really strong move through here. Good volume on this day coming up, bouncing at the 8-day. Had this fake breakout. This is my first trade. Broke out. I bought the break into new highs. It got out 10% over that and then came all the way back and hit my stop. So maybe that was a move that I should have moved half my stop to my entry as it got out. In hindsight, that's what I should have done in this type of trading environment. But I mean, still 6% loss. As long as it's under 7%, I can deal with that, especially with the position size that I'm trading in this environment. 5% or less on any new trade that I put. Second trade, it looked like it was getting out again. I just basically cut that at even, slightly up. It's KLR, and now it's continuing. So we're trading the strongest names, but we're playing defense because if they pull back, I don't want to be involved in a 20, 30% pullback. I want to keep my money safe. Next, we have LE. This one had a 90% up, 16% back. So high tight flag, had that nice shakeout. I forget what day that was, but bought on this lower bought after we bounced off the 20-day and moved over the previous day's high. So took some off right around break even, about a 0.5% down, and then hit the rest of my stop. So this was only a 3% loss instead of a full 5 or 6%. Down $60 on the trade, but had a nice flush on Tuesday and Wednesday. Fake breakout on Thursday, and now we're getting right back to all-time highs. So this might be one to watch going into next week. This is LE. PACB. This is one that had a 200% move up, 30% move back. Everything got nice and tight, and I bought just before the breakout. Sold some into strength the following 2 days, and then we had that gap up. I sold a lot into strength there, and got stopped out of half my remaining, or just not half my remaining, about 15% of my remaining trade. on that lower wick and then followed through kind of as the gap filled. I just took off the trade. So this was 16% up, 16.6%, made $613 on the trade. And this financed a bunch of my small losses on the week. So played this one pretty well. And then after I sold at 40, it went all the way down to $30. So that was another 25% down from the price that I got out at. So good defensive trading. Got a couple more for you. PERI up 128%, down 19%. Just a little 2-day pivot through here. Bought on the breakout over that. Smaller size, maybe 3% positions. Got out a little bit and then just reversed, hit my stop, down 5%. Not much more to say about that one. PERI. PLL, this is one that I lost 1.5% on, and it was, if I just stayed in it, it would have been a profitable trade for me, but I guess we would be at break even right now, so maybe not the worst thing in the world, but we had this nice pullback in all these daily highs on this diagonal. Once we broke out over that, it became resistance on the way down. So you see both days we bounced at that same diagonal. So once you break over a resistance point and close over that, then it typically becomes resistance. Had this really nice shakeout day on Tuesday and then rallied up. So took the trade on Thursday as we were breaking just into all-time highs. It got out 8.3% over my entry point. So I just moved my stop close to even and got stopped out with a little slippage at 1.5% loss. So definitely another one that I might look to trade next week. And that was one on the Tik Tok Trading Challenge. PRTY party, 334% up, 19% back with this. Actually, no, the shakeout happened after. Had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day pivot here, bought with a break over the previous day's high, got stopped out at the 5% stop that I placed. Not much more to say about that. And then the next day we flushed all the way below 7. So good thing I got out where I did. SKLZ. This was another really nice winner for me. $620, 16%. We had a 155% move up, a 16% move back. 1, 2, 3 daily highs all formed that pivot point, that buy point. So when we broke over that with volume, I added a pretty large size at this point. I think it was a 10% position size there. Then the next day, I didn't know they were getting the contract. They had some NFL news. Had no idea that was happening, but I was just playing the chart. Sold half the next 2 days into strength. Got stopped out. The rest, as we broke under the low here, put a little bit back, 20 shares back, and then, in hindsight, shouldn't have done that. Got flushed down and got hit with a gap down. So that really dented this. This could have been a $750 win if that didn't happen. But if we make the turn here right off the 20-day moving average, this was pulling back on such low volume that I was hoping the market would bounce and I could just add back my position that I sold off, but had some profit to play with. Not super mad about the last trade, but obviously you would in hindsight not do it. But and then TMDX, this was just a quick break-even trade, 143% up, 23% back. Bought with a break over the previous day high on the 19th. Sold some into strength as we gapped up and ran a little bit, and then got stopped out slightly below even. I think there might have been a little bit of slippage there. Actually, no, I probably gave it a little bit of room just to make it a break-even trade. So took it, sold some into strength. That gave me the profit to stay in the name, even though the market was acting really, really funky. And this one too, it's holding up really well compared to the rest of the market. If this can just trade sideways and tighten up, maybe we can take this next week. It's TMDX. I think I got 2 more here. VERU, this was on the midweek movers watch list. In hindsight, I shouldn't be taking this type of trade. This doesn't fit my trading strategy. It was 192% up, 42% back. Typically, when we pull back over 25%, you need to actually base out before a possible breakout of 8 to 10 weeks. Here, I just saw we made higher highs, higher lows compared to the previous day. So the next day when we were sitting right on the 20-day moving average and we made a new high on the day, I put the trade on with I think I put a 3.5% stop, got a little bit of slippage, 3.8% stop. So not something that really fit my trading strategy. Probably shouldn't take this next time. And last we have ZI. This was just a full 5% stop, $75. 38% up, had a malfunction breakout here. So when we broke over the previous high, not in the malfunction, not in that wick, that's when I put the trade on. And right after I put it on, it immediately reversed and stopped me out for 5%. So those are all the finished trades I had this week. Just holding APPS, 2% of my portfolio right now. And this is a rough looking week. Let's see if like for me, I'm gonna let some breakouts go, let them hold, not just a first breakout that gets out, because those will typically be sold off to soften up everyone's P&L that got rocked this week. So defensive trading, 1.7% down while trading all of the high growth stocks that everyone wants to trade to get large gains. But if you can trade defensively, move your stops to entry as quickly as possible, sell some into strength. That's the way you can roll up risk, keep the same amount of risk, but grow your exposure. And if the market turns, then you have large exposure on. So that's going to be the trading recap of the week. We'll have a breakout watch list on Sunday morning posted, and I'm trying to get out the interview that I did with Dason tomorrow. We'll see about that. All right. See you guys on Sunday morning for the breakout watch list next week.